Hi Stampers! Today I'm really excited to show you a real cute little idea, and this is what I call the Tea for Two pouch. And because what you do is when you open this up, you've got a little packet in here with a couple packages of tea and these cute little chocolate bears. So I'm going to show you how to make the pouch, and you can do it to anything that you like. And I've made it so that way you can put whatever you want inside the pouch, and I'll show you how we do that. So let's get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and this is cut 11 inches long. It's basically an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, so we didn't even have to cut that length. So it's 11 inches by 5 inches wide, and we're going to go ahead and score this to get the bottom of our pouch. So I'm going to use my score pail here, set that right up there, and we're going to go ahead and score this at 5 inches and again at 6 inches. And a good tip for you to know is whatever the length of your paper is, make a mark in the center and then just go a ½ inch on either side of that to score, and that will give you the size pouch that you need, or the actual measurements that you need to get your pouch bottom. Okay, so that'll get it right in the center for you. We'll get this out of our way. Now that we've got this part of the pouch made, now we're going to take our little cello bag, which is basically the inside of what we put our tea and things in. And I'll show you how we're going to do this. We're going to take the little bag, and this is the 4x6 one. This actually has sticky on the back of it, so we're not going to pull that off yet. I'll show you what I did. I basically put the opening of the bag to the back of the pouch. So your opening is going to be at the back. The flap is going to be going over the back part of our pouch. You see how I did that? So that's going to be over the back part. So what's going to happen is when you pull this strip off and you glue it down, because this can be the glue that holds it now, is you're going to have your opening right here. So you'll still be able to get into the bag and put something into it. So that's how we're going to make the actual pouch for the inside. It's just a tiny, tiny bit too long. So what I've done is I've actually just kind of rolled this up, folded this a little bit at the bottom, about 1/4 inch, and put a small piece of Scotch tape down there so it doesn't get stuck in the actual bottom of the pouch at the flap. But this will make it the perfect length if you do that. So we'll go ahead and finish up the back of this, because all we're going to do for the back part of the pouch is we're going to take a piece of designer series paper, and this is from the Everyday Enchantment paper, which I love. This is such a pretty set, but this is only available as a free celebration item until the end of March. So if you like these patterns of paper, you need to pick it up, within the next couple weeks. So we're going to go ahead and use some, just some snail, and go ahead and stick that on the back. So this will be the back of our pouch, and that'll be completed, and then we'll go to the front. So that'll basically cover up where you have put that little cello bag down, so you won't really be able to see that. Okay, so there's the back. So we're going to set this on the side now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of scrap pool party paper, and using the Versamark ink, which is just a water stamp, so this is a clear type of an ink, but it is a little bit thicker. It dries a little bit longer, because this is what we use for embossing. And I'm going to go ahead and emboss the heart, and this is from the P.S. I Love You set, which is only good until the end of April for the mini catalog. I'm going to go ahead and just ink this up real good with the Versamark. And we'll go ahead and just stamp it on the pool party. So we're not going to be embossing this. We're actually just going to get the natural color. It may be a little hard to capture on the camera or the video, but that's just made it just a little bit darker in the pattern. So we're going to leave that color. We'll move that out of our way. Then the next thing we'll do is just kind of set this aside, because we will be punching this out with a full hard punch, but I want it to dry a little bit because it does take a little longer to dry. The next thing we'll do is we're going to take a piece of scrap, very vanilla paper, and a little stamp called, and this is Enjoy. This is from the stamp set You're a Gem. which is still out. This is in the main catalog, but it's a real cute little stamp set, but I love that little word enjoy on there. It's really pretty. So we're going to take some of the Poppy Parade and ink up our stamp and go ahead and stamp that down. And we'll be using the 1-inch circle punch to punch this out. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll get all of our pieces ready for our outside. And I'm going to use a little bit of crumb cake and a sponge, and we're just going to kind of distress this a little bit because our paper is already a little bit distressed in that Everyday Enchantment set, so this will just kind of add to that. So we're going to set that aside for a moment. And the backing for our Enjoy, I'm going to be using another piece of Poppy Parade paper, and we're going to go ahead and punch out a circle using the 1 3/8 inch circle punch. And we'll put a little bit of snail on the back of this and mount these together. So that's part of our front of our card already. And then I've also got a piece of Pool Party paper. This is actually the color. It's called Pool Party. And it's a real light blue, very pretty. And this is actually cut at 2 1/4 inches wide by 4 3/4 inches long. And I've ran this through the Big Shot using one of the embossing folders. And this is the square lattice embossing folder. And basically, you've seen these on other videos, but basically you just put your paper in here, run it through the Big Shot, and it gives you this nice impressed look here. And then I've got another piece of DSP paper, again from the Everyday Enchantment. This is the kind that we used on the back of the pouch, and that's going to be the front of our card as well. So we're going to go ahead and start piecing this together. This piece here, this is another piece of Poppy Parade that's going to be the scalloped part. That's going to fit right under there. This is cut 1 inch by 4 3/4. And I went ahead and used the scallop trim border punch, and we'll go ahead and punch this out and get it ready to put in the card. And if you've used these before, you know how to use them, but basically when you use these punches, you want to use them right side up so you can follow the pattern. And you're going to just kind of look at where this pattern is, and you're going to put the punched part of your holes in the area so that all you see is the silver, and you see the pattern right through there. And that way it lines up so that you know you've got this lined up properly on both sides. So that way you have a nice finished edge. And I've got to punch it one more time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I was just a little bit short on one end. Okay, so we've got this all punched out. And this is going to be our underneath piece here. So we'll go ahead and get back to our hearts. And we're going to punch out the heart that we put the Versamark on, our pattern. And then we're going to punch out one more that's just a plain heart. So we've got that all done. So far this is what we've got. And then all I did is I took a straight pin that has a little pearl finish on the end. And we're going to go ahead and stick that in one of the hearts here. So we're just going to kind of poke it through and run it through the back there, just to give it a little bit of an embellished look there. Okay, so we'll start putting our card together. So all I've done is I've used a dimensional on the back of this, which is just one of our little pop-up dimensionals. I'm going to go ahead and attach my Poppy Parade to the Pool Party before I attach it down on the Designer Series paper. Because we're using a textured type pattern on our paper, I always like to use a liquid glue. I think it gets in the crevices a little bit better than the snail does. So we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of liquid glue down and place our Poppy Parade down. And you just want it sticking out a little bit, so we can push this back a little bit more. Okay. And we can go ahead and put some more liquid glue on the rest of this paper and go ahead and secure it down. And then I'll show you one of the other final steps that makes this such a beautiful card. Sorry, my glue is kind of getting low here, so I have to keep shaking. Shake-a, shake-a, shake-a here. Okay. There we go. So we've got that down. So we'll go ahead and glue that. I'll remove my paper from my dimensional for my Enjoy, and we'll set that down there. And then these, we're going to go ahead and put a couple dimensionals on the corners here. And we'll set this down. And then we're also going to go ahead and just curl this slightly just to kind of make it stick up a little bit, just again to give it a little bit of dimension. And because this doesn't have a lot of color, I'm going to go ahead and just use a little crumb cake on the edges to distress it a little bit more and kind of make it stand out just a little bit. And now I'll go ahead and put dimensionals on the back of this one as well. And then we'll lay this on top of the other heart. And I've kind of laid it at an angle, so there we go. And then we'll go ahead and attach this to our pouch that we've already pre-done the back part on. And you can use snail on this, or you can use the liquid glue. It doesn't really matter because the designer series paper attaches very quickly and easily without too much problem using any type of glue. So we'll lay that down. There you go. All right. And then the only other thing I've done is I've added a couple of small, very, very tiny pearls to each part of my scallop trim border here. And I'm going to show you how I did that. I have a separate little piece that I've already started. And the easiest thing to do, because these are so tiny, these pearls, is to take either a flat-edged scissor, or in this case, I've got a little, this is actually my trimmer that I use. And it has a pretty sharp blade on it, so it will just pick up that glue and get it right off. And then you can pick these up pretty easily and quickly, especially if you have gel fingernail polish on or something like that, or real thick nails or real short nails. You're not going to be able to pick up those pearls. So look at how fast and quickly I could do that. So again, just use the edge of your razor blade or something that you have that's a flat surface. Many times, like I said, scissors will work. I like using this because it cuts right through the glue that's on the backing of the paper, and it gets these pearls up real fast. So it's just a real nice little technique to use. Just be careful so you don't cut yourself on the blade, but you know, just keep the blade away from you, and you can go pretty quickly with this whole thing. So then the last thing we have to do is we're going to go ahead and put on our little ribbon to tie it all together, and I will show you how I did that. So there you go, that's all the pearls attached. And then the ribbon, all I did was I used a crocodile. I used the smaller hole there, which I believe is, I think it's 5/16 of an inch. But as long as your ribbon fits through, that's all you got to worry about. So we'll go ahead and punch a hole right in the center here. And we'll take a small piece of Pool Party ribbon and run that through. And that basically ties up your package. So you have the cutest little Tea for Two pouch. Thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a great day. Bye-bye.